Late the other night, Valve decided they were going to shake things up. Well, sort of. It's definitely a shake-up in the sense that it's not what we've had for a few years, but the re-edition of Dust2 has caused a mixed reaction. Quickly before we get into that though, let's cover what else has changed. CL right hand 0 is back, and you can actually flick between left and right hand with a keybind, which when spammed does kind of look like you're sprinting like a character from the beloved Flash game QWOP. This was an oddly often requested feature given how few people are actually left-handed in real life, so it's gone down well with the community. Among the smaller additions are the bots getting icons on the scoreboard and said scoreboard being visible in the pause menu. View model Bob has been adjusted, much to the joy of those of you who are staring at your gun more than your crosshair for some reason. There's an icon on the kill feed that shows that someone was in the air, so when the random says the guy who killed him was in the air, you can fact check it with real American patriot. You can see the minimum amount you'll get next round with loss bonus for those of you who didn't get a B or above in maths at school. The new drop weapons bit in the buy menu is a nice touch, so you can retrieve drop weapons regardless of spawn. There's a few bug fixes to some maps, with Inferno being a little less cluttered and feeling a little bit more spacious. The biggest non-map pool changes, however, come to kill rewards, with the Zeus now offering a $100 kill reward, which is a nice touch, and the CZ being returned to a $300 reward. The CZ is not as overbearing as it was back when that change was made, to put it lightly. The XM10 has been put down to 600 to be in line with the SMGs rather than the other shotguns. This is similar to how the P90 offers a rifle reward instead of an SMG reward. But then we get on to the real juice. Dust2 is back, but it's for Overpass. Most of us, at least the vocal ones amongst us, wanted either Vertigo or Inferno or even Mirage out. There were some rogue shouts for Anubis or Ancient, but those are fringe lunatics who just shouldn't be listened to. Very few expected or wanted Overpass out, especially for Dust2. A big part of this is because Dust2 is considered a very linear, figured out, open and puggy map, whereas Overpass is a little bit less on rails and a bit more tactical. Lots have pointed to the fact that the map pool now feels unbalanced, with too many puggy maps that make it hard for better teams to punish weaker ones. Think about it, you're a big team at a big event up against an unknown team. You can only ban 3 of Vertigo, Inferno, Mirage and Dust2, and if it's a best of 1, you're probably going to have to take them to a danger map. In a best of 3, you probably get 2 of those maps. Even if you avoid those, Ancient is a very fast-paced map that can easily become an all-out brawl. If you've played against a 5-man Kosovan stack on Premier, or you've played against the Mongols in a pro game recently, you know exactly what I mean. The initial reaction was pretty explosive. Some pros immediately called it the worst map pool ever, which does sound slightly hyperbolic, but it's not that outlandish. Others, namely Nico, Simple and the whole of Big, are big fans. In fairness, if you had to have 2 pros in your corner on this issue, Nico and Simple aren't bad ones to have. There's some credence to both opinions, as there is in most debates. The map pool is a bit unbalanced, as previously mentioned, and the fact that so many people wanted 3 other maps removed shows it wasn't exactly a well-liked map pool before. Dust2 is an incredibly popular map in casual play, but some of that is simply familiarity. It's the most well-known map in probably any FPS ever, and it is iconic, but it's also so boring at this point. Say what you want about Mirage, but at least there's multiple different ways of approaching every single part of the map. Dust2 feels like you either get long with 4 flashes or you lose long most of the time. But on the other hand, why shouldn't it be Overpass? It wasn't played at all in the major playoffs, and though critics have suggested had VP not crashed at 11-11 in major playoffs, we might have seen it. It isn't particularly popular among casuals. Dust2 will bring back some old players. Dust2 will be very popular in Premier. Dust2 is a map that everyone feels at least somewhat comfortable on. Some of the greatest pro plays, best games as well, ever have been on that map. And with CS2 defining a new era in Counter-Strike, how better to do so than with the most iconic map it's ever had? Overpass had a complete visual overhaul, yes, but it didn't seem to make it any more popular with the overall player base, and it didn't make it more common in the major playoffs. Which it seems is Valve's main point of reference with the pro scene. We're not offended. At the end of the day, you're free to think whatever you want. That's the beautiful thing about the human condition, and the horrifying thing about the internet. Everyone has their own opinion. Whether you love the change, hate Dust2, hated Overpass but hate Dust2 more, loved Overpass and are considering committing Valorant install, or simply don't have a clue what we're talking about and you've autoplayed onto this video, we want to hear it. It's a pretty wild change and not one many people predicted, but now the dust has settled, no pun intended. Are you excited to be back on the sandy streets of Dust2, or do you have a new permaban? Let us know.